Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. I have Adil with me. Today we'll be just going through the roundup of all the Saturday fixtures in the Premier League. Adil, let's start off with the top of the table team, Man United. What did you make of them? 4-1 victory, Ronaldo coming back, 2 goals. Rosie.
Yeah. Crazy performance really because Newcastle just maybe if they played a bit more, they would have done better. But they sat off and it was a real convincing performance because United did struggle to create chances, but the atmosphere was amazing. I mean, it was the return of Ronaldo has just transformed the feeling around Old Trafford. Even before the game, the like queues outside the mega store and everything, you could just see there's a big lift. And yeah, the performance was, they struggled to create clear-cut chances, but they totally dominated the game. And yeah, I mean, Ronaldo does what he does best. I mean, the first goal, he's the only guy moving in the box, and he's 36 years old, and you just think, he's still the sharpest man in the box.
That's why sometimes it's all up here, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the second one again, keeper feel disappointed about both goals, I think. Even though the first took a slight deflection.
Yeah.
The second, I don't think he was ready for the shot. Ronaldo took the shot early at pace, and I mean, the scoreline flattered United, but you kind of also would say maybe that's what Newcastle deserved for the lack of ambition. I mean, they tried hard, and second half they played out a bit more, and they got caught out. But I feel like they need to get Dubravka back. Was it Woodman?
Woodman, yeah, Freddie Woodman.
Woodman wasn't good enough.
Young goalkeeper, yeah. Dubravka really needs to be back. But I mean, even then, even though United's not playing to the level probably you expect or you've seen down like during the Fergie era, etc., but they're still winning. They're still getting the results.
That's the most important
That's
thing.
The most crazy thing, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things still solid. I mean, I'm not saying they dominate the game. I mean, they're winning the ball back quite well. It's just that creativity still isn't there. But it's what was good to see was definitely the introduction of Ronaldo has put an emphasis getting the ball in the box a lot more. So he does a lot of these diagonal runs down the back of the defender, blindside of the defender, and quite a lot of the diagonal balls were coming in to try and catch him on those quick runs in behind, which wasn't something that we were doing. A lot of it was ball to feet combination play. So that was good to see. Right now you just need to get the results and put the hard yards in the training ground and get that rhythm going, because that the team was a settled team. If you think about it, you got Varane in the back line. United are playing slightly more higher than they were before. You got Matic in the team. You had Sancho playing on the left, Greenwood playing on the right, and then Ronaldo. So there's still just integrating a lot of players still into that team. So yeah, I think right now all that counts is just getting the results, and that's what Ronaldo brings in. He brings those goals, that belief. I was really happy when Fernandes scored. He doesn't really celebrate normally like with so much energy, but you could tell that was relief for him. That I'm still the main man here. And what a wonderful goal!
He's got a banger, dude. You have to celebrate.
He needed that. You can see he needed that. He needed that. I think he needed that because not so much was going through him today. Pogba was the main guy dictating the game. So no lot was actually going through Fernandes. He's
kind of going under the radar, isn't he? Pogba. He started the season off on like flyers, really.
Yeah, and another 2 assists today.
Yeah.
So he might be good. I don't know. I think De Bruyne and Henry shared the assist record or something.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, so let's see.
Somewhere out there, Graham Souness is pulling his hair out, trying to find a way to blame Pogba.
Yeah, that's a strange one. Yeah.
I mean, it was funny when he said.
I think this guy should just do themselves a favor and just not have Souness on anything on Pogba on Man United matches. It's getting a bit too obvious.
It is though. It's blatant, like.
Definitely, yeah.
In terms of Newcastle, I mean, is there signs of they improving from last year, or do you reckon it's going to be a similar tough fight like last year, and then they're going to survive towards the end? Do they have what they, because they didn't really sign many players?
Well, this is the thing about Newcastle that just baffles me, because we know there's two things I think about Newcastle. One thing is, it's ridiculous that the only player the whole transfer window they were linked to was Hamza Chowdhury. Like, that's like, if I'm a fan of Newcastle, that'd make me feel sick. Like, what the heck? Is that the most creative you can be, that you're chasing the whole summer Hamza Chowdhury, a guy who's not even a regular for Leicester? I'm not saying he's a bad player, but when you look at Newcastle squad, guess what? They got a lot of bloody defensive midfielders already. And I'm like, they got Hayden, they got Longstaff, everywhere you look, they got defensive midfielders. Yeah. Why are they dying for Hamza Chowdhury? And then they don't even get him. It's not like, it wasn't like it's an unachievable signing or an ambitious signing. And I'm thinking of all the players in the world, the only guy get linked with the whole summer. I actually don't remember Newcastle being linked with any other player whole summer.
They've been linked with Willock, isn't it? Since his loan.
Yeah, Willock was, but I'm talking about like
someone,
like the whole summer. You even have Bruce talking from last season, I think last January to.
They tried signing him,
and they can't get Hamza Chowdhury through the door. It's like, what the heck? So that says a lot about Newcastle right now. The second thing is, which I see as a positive, is the fact that Ashley didn't spend any money. Possibly indicates that the takeover might happen sooner than everyone realizes, because that's the only reason it would make sense why they didn't spend money more than they did, because Ashley knows he's selling the club, or there's a potential buying. So I know they're still holding out for the Saudi Arabia thing, and I know I think the court thing is adjourned to January, so maybe that's the reason why.
Yeah,
he's thinking, that they might win the case.
That would be crazy.
January, so
could you imagine the Saudis come and take over Newcastle all of a sudden? You got Newcastle up there as well.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
That's crazy.
Keeps it exciting for everyone. Keeps everyone spending, innit? And Newcastle as a club and fan base deserve it, man.
They're massive, yeah.
They deserve it. They're like Leeds, innit? There's this old diehard guy. Every Newcastle match you watch, you will find a whole load of their fans bare belly, topless.
That is one thing that is true.
Every time you watch a Newcastle match, you go to even in like winter when it's snowing, it's still.
That's why you watch the games. It seems like keeping an eye out for that. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next team. Chelsea, second on the table, 3-0 win. Comfortable?
No,
didn't seem like the first half.
They're very fortunate in the first half. Aston Villa were the better team, and first time I actually saw a system that Chelsea struggled with. Mind you, it's a bit difficult to tell as well whether it was the system, because Aston Villa played 3-5-2, or was it personnel? Because Salni Guez, for a debut, it's a nightmare debut. He got completely overrun. Tried playing out, being too cute 3-4 times. Literally kept losing the ball every time.
Yeah.
And how Aston Villa didn't punish those mistakes. And they're regretting it because easily they had 4 decent chances in that first. And if it wasn't for Mendy, well, I'm saying more, but I'm saying you don't expect a team to score every chance they get. So
no, I mean, what I was trying to say is pretty much you can say 2 of them they should have definitely done better because he was just guilt edge.
I mean, the two where Niguez lost the ball in defensive mid. I mean, both of them should have been punished. I don't know what Ings was doing with that final ball to Watkins. Is terrible. Then you have the other Ings cuts in, and Thiago Silva stops it. That's an open goal. So that's Watkins.
Watkins.
So and they had numerous other decent opportunities where Mendy got a good hand to it. So there's the double chance from Ming's shot, and then the rebound.
Oh, I mean, mishit.
Whoever was scuffs it. Yeah. So they're really good chances. And Tuchel again done the necessary adjustments at halftime. Got Jorginho on straight away. Took Sal Niguez off.
Changed the game.
And it's a different game. And I tell you what, Jorginho really needs to get a lot more attention. I just think he's getting attention because he won the Euros and the Champions League, but he's an elite midfielder. I mean, the way he's playing on that caliber of the Modric's and all of that, the best in that position.
He got given the UEFA Player of the Year, so he's
but he deserves the Ballon d'Or. Him or just because Lewandowski got cheated it last year. It's one of these who just should get it.
Yeah,
there's not much of a conversation. I keep hearing rumors of Messi.
I'd rather go for Lewandowski because I think he got robbed completely last year. But that's a different conversation. Then we're getting dragged away. But back to Chelsea, Lukaku getting his first ever Stamford Bridge goal. And that's
everyone kept going on about it, and I was like, should I be nervous about making him my captain in fantasy football? But I thought, nah, that's just one of those stats that is just, doesn't factor in the fact that he's a kid, and then he's playing for teams that were at the time weaker. Even when he was at United, they were weaker than Chelsea at the time. So that was Conte's Chelsea at the time. So I didn't really read too much into it. It was obvious, but his movement for the first goal, Kovacic, who was by far the best player on the pitch, bailed Niguez out a few times and just looked really sharp. I mean, the ball, the run, was perfect. Even the hunger for the finish for the second goal, the pressing, and he actually deserved to be man of the match for me. He stood out from the first whistle. So
you shouldn't be complaining. You're getting 3 bonus points. So
I'm not complaining, but still need to state the fact. Kovacic was the man of the match, or should have been. He was the best player on the pitch. And he created the first goal and he scored the second. So what else do you need to say about it? But Chelsea, they're just a machine, man. They're a machine. After that second half was like what you see most of the time with Chelsea.
But do you think this most of the first half will give other teams kind of a bit of a idea of how to play against this Chelsea side?
Yeah, I think teams will try the 3-5-2 a bit more because they did cause Chelsea, but when you look at it again, we don't know if it's because they had that if ever they had their second string players playing more, this was the game. A lot of Thiago Silva first start of the season. You had Chalobah back in. They played Hudson-Odoi in the wing back position. They had Sal Niguez making his debut, and he just didn't look ready for the intensity of that match. They had Ziyech in the line, so a lot of areas you just felt like they just patched a team together. that maybe was fitter than the other players returning from international duty. And that first half, that's what it looked like. I mean, they're really poor in the first half. And the goal was kind of against the run of play. Chelsea did not perform well. But second half, when they got Jorginho back into playing, they got Azpilicueta on quite early, suddenly you see that dominance again. So
Adi, one thing I wanted to gauge your attention on is Lukaku's finish. I mean, we were talking before the game, and you said about his finish, so you might as well say it for our viewers.
Well, for the second goal,
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just a standard lace, straight down the goal. I mean, that was a finesse finish, and he kind of laced into out. Out to in to slice across it and get it straight. I mean, real hard technique, quality goal.
Considering the position of the ball as well, isn't it?
Yeah, because the ball was inside of his left foot, so he had a lot to do, and just such a quality finish. I mean, I didn't really, he's a prolific striker, but that was serious class in technique, and it's the type of goal Haaland scores all the time. Where you see Haaland, you just think his pace and power, but then he does some absolute finesse, sublime finishes that just shows you he's got every type of finish on it. And Lukaku's at that level now, in his finishing, just that's a great finish, isn't it? Really, and the thing was, Chelsea never played to his strengths that well today. Those were the only two times they really played him in. A lot of time. That was how they wrestled control of the game. Was in the second half. They made Lukaku drop back more, and they pushed Hudson-Odoi as a striker, or as a second striker. So what was happening was it was Lukaku dropping in and linking up the play the way Giroud would do last season. Yeah. Lukaku's second half, instead of posting up and playing on the last man, was the link dropping in, and it was more Hudson-Odoi stretching the play. So, yeah, you have to give it to Tuchel again. Those changes made them wrestle control of the game because they kind of matched up and went to a 3-5-2 of their own.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he can do both, isn't it? It shows that Tuchel now has that option to however he wants to use Lukaku, because he can do that Giroud job and he can do the other job of going in behind. So
Tuchel, yeah, and top of it, I mean, the whole first half, even second half, Aston Villa only went to 3 at the back just to have 2 men on Lukaku.
Yeah, and
both guys were just manhandling him. They weren't even. It was just a wrestling, especially first half. It was just a wrestling match the whole time.
But I think, what else do you do against a guy who is very strong, very fast? That's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, and it was working, but you see, that's why there's a problem for the goal, because as he's running in behind, Tuanzebe points thinking Ezra's there, because they always were keeping 2 guys on him.
Yeah.
So he kind of is jogging back, pointing, thinking Ezra's going to mop up, and then realizes no, Ezra went in and gambled on when Kovacic won the ball. He looked towards the left, and Ezra left his position thinking, oh, he's going to pass it to midfield, and he wanted to try and nick the ball high up the pitch. And instead, obviously, Kovacic went down, spun the other way and played a beautiful bowling ball. Yeah. So, yeah, cost them, because it's clearly on the training ground they plan to always have 2 guys man marking, and when Tuanzebe thought Ezra was there and he wasn't, so that's what kind of created but talk about sitting someone down. The cutback.
Yeah. All right, we giving too much airtime now. I'm sure we're going to talk about him in the future anyway. But let's move on. Man City 1-0 win away at Leicester. Bernardo Silva finally getting into the score sheet. What did you make of them?
Yeah, they had loads of chances. Again, it's I don't know. I mean, they need a striker. I just think Torres, he's one of those guys who will score goals, against he'll score maybe 2 or 3 in a 5-0 win, but the best strikers do it when you're missing chance after chance, and the team's starting to get a bit down. You need someone to just unlock it, and yeah, so Troyes had a few chances, didn't put them away, but
basically what Aguero used to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah.
Well,
Leicester weren't great today.
But are you surprised that they still didn't go for someone else? I mean, they tried going for Kane, but surely they must have had a backup or someone that they could go for. It's just like, it seems like he's not too bothered.
I just think they're at that level where their market is very small. They're just going for the finished articles, the guaranteed guys. So, who else is there? I mean, guaranteed strikers are, the ones they went for. They went for Kane. They were interested in Lukaku, but they preferred Kane, and they went for Cristiano Ronaldo. So they're all guaranteed prolific scorers. And next year, you can guarantee they will go for Haaland because they didn't get a striker.
Oh man, that's just it gets even more difficult for everyone else. But Leicester, I mean, what do you make of their start? Because I mean, it just seems like they're not really connecting this year.
I think the problem is, and that's the last year they started off quite fast, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember Maddison was on fire, and the problem is, I think they're trying to accommodate Maddison and Vardy too much, and they're just not.
It's not working.
Yeah, and they always look better once Iheanacho comes on, or the other players come on. They look at like. I just think Maddison, as good as he is, he's not fitting the system. He's not currently on form wise. He's not better than Iheanacho.
But that's what I was gonna say. Do you think it's Iheanacho for Maddison or Iheanacho for Vardy?
No, because Iheanacho doesn't really play as a 9. He plays more like a 10, second striker.
Okay.
So it has to be for Maddison, really. But it's still, I mean, they still performed okay today. It wasn't like,
performance. Yeah.
But one thing no one's called out is the performance of Soyuncu. I mean, the guy's having a mare. I think he still thinks he's playing for Turkey in the European Championships.
But you know what?
Every game you watch of him, he's making error after error after error, and he's at fault for nearly every goal they conceded this season.
But since he's come back from injury,
he's not been taken off because clearly he plays better with Johnny Evans, and that's probably why he played a bit better today because Johnny Evans was back. But he's still making so many mistakes. So why get Vestergaard and spend that much money on him if you're not going to play? I think
Vestergaard did play today, no?
I'm not sure whether he played.
Vestergaard played, I do.
So
with Soyuncu today.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it was I think
Evans.
Evans came on. Yeah.
So they only look better once Evans comes on. So that tells you still the problem that Soyuncu, Soyuncu just isn't.
Since that injury, he hasn't been the same player. I don't know what's happened. It just seems
which injury? Are you talking about Fofana's injury? Because it seems like since Fofana's gone, he's just.
I mean, when he came back last year towards the end.
Yeah.
Since then, he just hasn't been the same player. Even when he came back, you can see he just wasn't right. There wasn't something right. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but he's just making error after errors, and a lot of it is down to concentration and focus. Yeah. So surprised no one's really called him out, he ain't under more scrutiny because most of the goals Leicester have conceded this season, he's played a part. Yeah. He's been the reason why
they're kind of stuck because they have to play him. He's the only centre back option because all the other ones were injured. So
no, I mean they had when they had Vestergaard, they could have played it. Because at the end of the day, all right, Marty might not be the best centre back, but he's not costing you goals. He's not the reason why you're conceding.
True.
And he's not making error after error, making everyone feel a bit nervous because, you know, when a player keeps making mistakes, especially like playing out from the back passes, you know, spraying the ball straight out into, you know, onto the stands, you know, keeping that pressure on the defense, you know, it makes everyone nervous. So probably, and when he's playing that bad for a number of games, you know, going to Vestergaard and Marty might have been the kick he needed. You know,
well, Evans is back now, I think. So
yeah, and he made a difference when he came on.
Yeah, I mean, well, he took Vestergaard off. That tells you he's probably
Yeah.
Play
So
with
that's the thing. You know, I think it's just you know, maybe favoritizing Soyuncu too much. He's been poor.
Let's look at the other teams. Adil, quickly go through
Crystal Palace, Tottenham.
Tottenham. 3-0 for Vieira. I mean, never lost as a player and as a manager. Have to put it there as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, Crystal Palace wanted it more. I thought at first I was...
What a debut as well. You have to give credit to Edison Odward.
Yeah, when he came on, but it's a lot. It was by then, you know, the crowd was really pumped. Obviously, he came on as 1-0 up already. Yeah. And Spurs were going for it, innit? They didn't handle the occasion very well, you know, and that's what the home fans can do, which what we missed last year is, especially, it's not just when you're 0-0, but because they can get quieted down when you have a dominant spell. Yeah. But once you're 1-0 up, I mean, they were really up for it, and you know, the tussle between Zaha and Tanganga just got the whole crowd up for it, and the whole the rest of the game just became, you know, all about the passion of the fans and the Crystal Palace players playing off that. So, yeah, that intensity just Spurs weren't ready for.
But I think even the finish, he was kind of off balance, and the way he took it really quickly. I think that's what was like. You can see it's a clear goal scorers.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know. The finish is just an instinct finish. Yeah, it was good accuracy. But I was more impressed with the movement for both goals. You know, it's the movement, the way he's created the space and then you know worked himself into that space. That was impressive, I thought, for both goals.
Yeah, he won the first goal in the first one as well. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I was more impressed with his movement, to say the truth. But yeah, it's still an instinct good finish with his left foot for the first one. The second one's a pretty much open goal. But again, you know, sometimes when you're free, you just wait for it. You know, wait for the opportunities. So
one player I think not getting talked enough about, Gallagher.
He's I mean,
on fire, isn't he?
He's everywhere, and under Vieira, he's kind of been given that Frank Lampard struck Vieira role of bursting in and driving with the ball a bit more creative freedom, which you'd expect anyway, because you know last year with Sam Allardyce was always more about defending anyway, and he showed he was very good at that side of the game too. So a real exciting prospect, you know, another one that looks like he you know, whatever challenge he's given, he can take the next step.
It seems like he's stepped up as well in terms of his like decision making and getting that kind of like the final third, that assist, because he's just everywhere. Every chance you see, it's him involved.
Yeah, and his timing, his runs well. He's got the energy, and he's got the, you know, he's got the experience of know-how of how to do the dirty stuff and the dark side of the game. I mean, you know,
when you had Sam Allardyce, I'm sure
someone's going on a counter attack, he will skate you down. You know, he'll take one for the team. So, you know, I think he's a very bright, good prospect, exciting prospect. You know,
another Chelsea.
I'm sure he'll get some England recognition soon enough.
Yeah. In terms of Spurs, I mean, they had a really good start, 3 games. Winning, beating Man City.
Yeah, I mean, I think the result was the most important thing, because some of those performances weren't great. you know, 1-0 wins, all 1-0 wins. They weren't like convincing victories, but they were, maybe you could say they were the better team, but it wasn't like, you know, only the last one did they create a hatful of chances, like really looked like a creative force. But the first two is just they're grinding out the wins. They've been solid, quite defensively, you know, sound in the way they're set up. Very much, sorry, very much similar. You know, very much what you'd expect from a Espirito Santo team.
Mhm. Oh, I think that's all. Oh yeah, battle of the bottom two. Arsenal finally getting
Yeah,
the lucky breakthrough that they needed from Pepe's bum or backside.
well, no, I think it did come to his leg, but the fact is, he didn't have a clue about this. This is rolling over, and but you know, he deserved it for the hunger he showed to, you know, get onto that. Because his first shot was a great save from Krul to push it onto the post, and then the hunger he showed to get the second one off, and he knew he was getting clattered, and he still went for it, hit the post, and, you know, rolling over. He got his rewards for that.
But as a team, did they look any better? Arsenal, in terms of, obviously they integrated.
Well, the tempo was better. The tempo was better. I don't know. I mean, it's a bit like you know, United. It says they get the ball out wide and they try and get the crosses in, but, you know, real creativity, real, you know, going down, playing balls into the center, combination plays, you know, playing with proper ambition. It's a work in progress.
So, yeah, I mean,
it's a work in progress. But yeah, them, you know, and, you know, surprising result with West Ham too.
Oh yeah, well, Antonio getting sent off, losing me points, you know. But I mean, West Ham, that's how they're going to be, isn't it? They'll go on that run, and then they'll have those hard fought like 0-0s, or they lose. They'll go on a bit of a dip and then come back up again. I think that's what's going to happen with West Ham.
Yeah, I just think, I thought that last season as well. They're a team that, like, kind of always, they like reacting. Do you get it? They like, if it's 0-0 at halftime, then you get worried more, because they seem to, then they'll come out second half and perform. And if they're 1-0 down, then you're gonna get worried, because, you know, they got character, and they're good at reacting. So, you know, that, you know, you're more worried if you take the lead sometimes against West Ham, because they just come out with the character and they give it more, especially away from home. That's what I noticed last season.
But you know what? Losing Antonio is going to be massive though for them, because he's everything to their attack, I reckon. Because without him,
the thing is, they haven't really properly replaced him, but, you know, they got options, because obviously last season they did play Bowen there when Antonio got injured. They played Lingard there. They don't have Lingard now, but they have options now, because they can play Bowen there and bring Vlasic playing with, who's a very good player. So yeah, I just think it's smart signings that they've done. Even Kral is very good player, very similar to Declan Rice. So they're already working the window well, because they already got Declan Rice's replacement in.
Zuma in as well, isn't it? Then
yeah, Zuma, I think, is a solid signing for the age, price,
for the price, but 5 million.
Yeah, but the other thing, I still think it's smart, because by getting Crowley in, now they're not under pressure. Like and eventually they will have to sell Declan Rice, because everyone's after him. But they already got the replacement in Crowley, so they're operating in a smart way.
That's what David Moyes does. Looks at players. I think we've spoke about it before. Really, really smartly, and gets the players that he actually wants.
They're very cautious in the transfer market.
Thank you, Adil. Thank you for your insight today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and keep on watching. We have more videos coming out. Liverpool versus Leeds, I think.
Leeds.
Yeah, Liverpool versus Leeds tomorrow.
Should be an exciting game.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Heavy metal football from both sides. Perfect.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I think the FA have confirmed that the Brazilian players can play, so they should have all their players
Yeah,
back. So
it makes it better for all of us because
yeah,
Leeds are a different proposition with
Rafinha.
Rafinha. I'm not sure how many Liverpool fans are happy, especially if they see Firmino in the starting lineup. But Alisson's a big player.
I meant
Firmino's a
for
big
I
player.
didn't say big players in Firmino. I meant as in Alisson and Fabinho.
Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying that I'm not sure how.
I might get a lot of hate for saying Firmino's rubbish, by the way. Now,
Yeah, I don't know how happy they'll be if he starts. Which I have a feeling he might start tomorrow.
But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Adil. I'll see you tomorrow.